I've spent the last decade of my career obsessing over what makes people come together and what makes them stick. In only the last 3 years of my career, I've had the opportunity to work with over 150 of the top Web3 brands to build the next generation of Web3 communities. Part of the portfolio of clients we've worked with are brands like Forbes Web3, Brave Browser, Karate Combat, Abstract Chain, and many other. I can keep going. But one thing we are always doing at Unfungible, one thing we have our microscope on, is how is the community building landscape in Web3 changing so we can constantly adapt our strategies to that. And over the last 2 years, there's something very interesting that we started observing. Back in 2020, 2021, and a little bit of 2022, a lot of what made a brand successful was first movers advantage, coming into the marketplace and filling a void that did not exist before. But starting last year, moving into the future, Web3 as an industry has become a lot more developed. The space has matured and the blue ocean opportunities have, most of them, been closed down. Although a brand can come in with a new technological advance or a special product or feature that has not existed previously in the marketplace, the main blue oceans have already been filled. The marketplaces have become marketplaces. The AI tokens are AI tokens. And now brands have to compete on both features and marketing. So what this means for us as builders in the Web3 space that are trying to build products and services that are going to build the future of our industry is we need to adapt our marketing to this new reality. We need to learn to market in a more competitive industry. No longer is being first enough, because now being first is most likely not the case anymore. So now we need to evolve our products and marketing to speak differently to our target audience or to position us uniquely in the marketplace. And what this means for us, builders, founders, and marketers, is that the fundamentals of marketing are finally setting in to this industry. Now more than ever, marketing fundamentals on how we launch our brands in Web3 matter more than ever. And in today's video, what I'm going to be introducing to you is what I believe to be the highest leverage play that founders can be using as part of their marketing, called the founder funnel. Now, I've spoken about the founder funnel quite extensively, especially on my X account. So if by any chance you do not already follow me on X, make sure you do, as this is really the place where I share what is on top of my mind, my free-flowing thoughts, and whenever I see something interesting happen on the market, I have the ability to document that on X faster than I have the ability to create a long-form video format with the board and the preparation and everything. So make sure you follow me on X at Leon Aboud. So let's talk about the founder funnel and why it matters. So the founder funnel. The founder funnel is a system that was inspired from my personal observations on how Web2 marketing has evolved over the last decade, especially targeting a Generation Z target audience. What I've observed happen in Web2 is the death of the traditional brand account. The traditional brand account, think about Pepsi or Coca-Cola on social media, the old style content that they did, just product pictures and that's it. The death of billboard marketing, where all you're showing people is just your product. And what we've seen is the emergence of founder-led brands. And here's the interesting thing. In Web2, marketers have had to evolve for the new generation of internet users who are Gen Z and millennials. And here's where it gets fascinating. Guess who the target audience that is buying your NFTs or trading your tokens? These aren't your parents, these aren't the boomers or Gen X, these are the Gen Z and the millennials. These people have grown up with the internet and have developed a certain way of resonating with marketing content. And today, most Web3 founders I see are still stuck in the 2005 way of doing marketing, which is the billboard marketing. Here's our product, buy now. This, ladies and gentlemen, no longer works in Web3, and it has continued to no longer work even more moving forward. Founder-led marketing is the only way to market to a new segment of the market. And if you are in Web3, you are stuck with that target audience. So your options are simple. Either you adapt to this new market reality, or you fade out of oblivion and never have the chance to show the world the products and services you have been working so hard to build. And if you are more of a data type of person, I actually have stats for you that you might find interesting to back up my points. A study by Sprout Social, which is a publicly traded social media management tool, has found that consumers are 82% more likely to trust a brand whose founder has a personal presence and is vocal about the brand's vision and mission. A study by Edelman Trust Barometer found that companies with founders who have visible and engaging personal brands have a 75% higher employee retention rate. Employees want to stick around visionary founders that are moving forward and building in their industry. A LinkedIn study found that companies with a high-profile founder grew 16% faster than companies without a high-profile public-facing founder. And finally, another study found that brands with a strong personal brand of a founder get 4 times more media exposure than brands who do not have a front-facing founder. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to draw what the typical founder funnel looks like. So this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is our beautiful founder funnel and what it looks like. At the very top of the marketing funnel, we have the founder profile. At the medium depth of the funnel, we got the brand account, community, and finally the conversion event, whether it's a purchase of your apparel, your merch, your NFTs, your ecosystem, your token, whatever that looks like. And just to illustrate this point very simply, what that looks like. You right here are watching Leon Aboud's videos. This is my founder funnel strategy, my founder funnel content. When you're asked to take a call to action, or when you are ready to take a call to action and go to our website, this is where you move down the funnel and you actually take action to landing on our website or landing on the social medias of the brand, and then from there exploring deeper into the ecosystem. And then moving into a community, if you had, let's say, a free community, or you had a newsletter, or you had a Discord that was open for people, and then moving into the conversion funnel. And then under that, there's, of course, the customer ascension process, and then there's the super fans, all of this, but that's for another video. And this, in a nutshell, illustrates the founder funnel simply. And the reason why this follows this structure right here is the following. Let's look at this from the Web3 perspective for a second. In Web3, there are 2 forces that are squeezing teams from both sides. The first stressor, so let's call those stressors. Number 1 is that we have limited channels of acquisitions. Number 2 is we have skeptical buyers. So limited channels, what does that mean? In Web3, if you've been in this space for some time, you've probably realized that the number of channels we have at our disposal are pretty limited. I remember back in Web2, I was pretty much dabbling with organic content and paid content. And trust me, paid media, when you can unlock ads for your product, that's where we were scaling e-commerce stores to like 6 figures a month. It was crazy. But in Web3, unfortunately, we do not have the ability to do this. So we're pretty much limited to organic and influencer marketing. The second one right here is we have skeptical buyers. As you know, in Web3, people have been burnt a lot of times. So getting people to trust your brand, getting people to get their buy-in has become a lot harder, and in the byproduct, a lot costlier. It takes people seeing you more times with different angles of your brand for them to build trust. And going back to the founder funnel with the founder profile, there's no better way of unlocking these 2 elements or overcoming these 2 stressors than through the founder profile. With the founder profile, you have the ability to create engaging organic content that spreads. People engage with people. And the more people engage with you, the more organic reach you're going to get. Needless to say that. But people do not engage with brands. No one does. People engage with people. And number two, people are a lot more likely to trust a founder, that they know who they are, they know who their vision is, they know what they stand for, and they know what they sound and look like. And this is how we have the ability, just from a fundamentals perspective, to use the founder profile to overcome the two stressors that we face here in Web3. What's also really interesting about the founder funnel is you have the ability through the founder funnel to disrupt industries that are not currently using these types of marketing strategies and these types of marketing initiatives that haven't caught up to the new age of marketing. I can only think back of this company called Midday Square based in Montreal. And what they were able to do is they were able to get a product that was in the most competitive industry ever and be able to break into that. So Midday Square, what they do is they have a functional chocolate brand. And notoriously for the last century, the chocolate company has been owned by 4 big companies. And they came in as the underdogs. They positioned themselves as such. They created marketing content that appealed to that type of new buyer persona, the Gen Z marketing. And all of a sudden, I saw them personally. I know the founders. I had them on a podcast back in 2018 or 19, I believe. Great team. They went from one store in a local health shop in Montreal to now having their products in every Costco and Walmart and Target in Canada and the US. They're growing and they're scaling. And they got some offers to get acquired by one of these big 4, but didn't take them, because they're a mission-driven company. So what they were able to do is to get into an industry that was very commoditized by the same big players and uncommoditize themselves through good marketing. Good marketing doesn't only improve the life of your prospects. It allows you to build in an industry that is competitive and red and a lot of competition circulating around. It allows you to break out of the masses. And this is the great example of Midday Square. If you are to look at their account on Instagram, if you are to very quickly scroll, you're going to think this is a reality TV show. This is not a chocolate company. Nowhere is there a picture of just the product itself with a nice white background. No, it is about the founder story. It is about what they are going through as a team. It is a chocolate factory, the big machine that molds the chocolate, just breaking and leaking on the floor and then documenting this and holy, how do we do this? This is the story that they bring you in. And as a viewer, you're captivated. And it leaves a lasting impression in people's mind. And then you go buy the chocolate because of how it makes you feel, because of the brand that comes with it. Not just because it's a good chocolate bar, which they have a great product as well. So now that we have the understanding of the importance of the founder funnel, the next question becomes, how do we actually execute on this, Leon? Like, what's next? So let's talk about this. So what I have for us right here is 4 steps of implementation for the founder funnel. The first one of these is define contrarian narrative. So what is a contrarian narrative? A contrarian narrative is a narrative that is not oftentimes agreed on, that you have strong conviction in. You could tie the narrative to your mission as a company. For example, the contrarian narrative that we have on this channel is that NFTs are the greatest tool at building community since the invention of the internet. There's no tool that has come since the internet's creation that has the ability to bring people together and create and foster a sense of meaning and belonging between people. NFTs are the solution to the loneliness pandemic. And I've been creating content around this. And my content, you can say that it's niche and it's contrarian because I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and only a handful of you guys have been watching this content over the last 2.5 years. And I thank you for this. And I can't wait for my contrarian narrative to eventually become the narrative. But until then, I'm going to be the one advocating for that and pushing that and making the world realize of that narrative. That's an example of a contrarian narrative. And everyone else who believes the same that I do, aka you, the viewers, all of a sudden are a lot more likely to resonate with my message. Another example of a contrarian narrative is in Web3 games. It can be that Web2 gaming publishers are stifling growth within their game because there's no in-game economy and they're only taking value away from the gamers, not giving it back to them. That's an example. And this is the narrative that Axie Infinity used to become the #1 crypto game back in the previous bull market. Every security and privacy app in Web3 have somewhat of the same narrative, which is that all these big Web2 conglomerates are just sifting data out of the users. And if you are a believer that you deserve to control your data and monetize it yourself, then use our alternatives. That's an example. Brave Browser, one of our portfolio clients, that's exactly their narrative. So your contrarian narrative, defining what you believe in. And this is oftentimes done through internal work, realizing what is it you're passionate about, what is it you consume on a natural basis. The second element that we are going to have as part of the founder funnel is define your solution and delivery mechanism. So I'm going to tell you why this is important. So define your solution and delivery mechanism. The reason why it is important as soon as you start the founder funnel to have a product or a delivery mechanism, as I said it right here. How are you solving the problem that is part of your contrarian narrative? The reason why this is important is that your delivery mechanism will become your North Star that will prevent you from swaying off to wherever the attention takes you. If you have no North Star, you're going to end up optimizing your content for what gets most views. And oftentimes what gets most views is not what builds your business the best. I'm speaking from personal experience, by the way. I've spent a good 4 or 5 years of my career building Instagram pages, and I was only chasing awareness and views and followers. And I got just that. I built a following on my pages of over millions of followers, but that never translated into any business growth. And for me, for example, the contrarian narrative is NFTs as the greatest tool for community building. The problem is not enough good marketing wisdom and knowledge in Web3. It is very scarce, often held by the few people who control the industry. And finally, my delivery mechanism is unfungible. Unfungible. If you are someone that believes in NFTs as the great community and have an NFT that you're trying to build in the marketplace or Web3 technology as a way to bring people together, then this is where it works. So that's a great example. And that's why I was able to stay on course even when the bull market was shifting away from NFTs and going to meme coins and going to this and going to that. I don't want any of that. It's not part of my vision. It's not part of my mission. It's not part of why I get up in the morning. And I don't want to sway there. So that's why it's incredibly important to define your delivery mechanism. Number 3 that we have right here is define initial platform. What's going to happen as you start deploying the founder funnel is this is going to be awkward as hell. It is going to be an awkward journey because finding your voice is going to take time. Whether you are trying to find your voice through written content, through video content, through podcast content, it's going to take you time to find your voice. And that's why the earlier you can start implementing, testing, iterating, the faster you're going to get to becoming your ideal self. There is a version of you who has an audience base of millions of people that is willing to pull out their credit card to buy whatever it is that you're building and whatever it is that you are selling. That version of you is not you right now because we have yet to acquire the skills to get there. And that's fine because we're all on the process to getting there. And it all starts with identifying our initial platform. My recommendation to you is create where you consume. I myself, for example, was consuming YouTube more than I was consuming on X when I started in Web3. So that made it more natural for me to create on YouTube than it was on X. For me, I like watching videos, and I've always enjoyed the process of trying to get better and improving my abilities of delivering a message clearly and concisely. So that was something I enjoyed. Therefore, YouTube made more sense for me. If you are to look back at my previous videos on this channel, and if you are to look at some of my older channels on YouTube, look up Jump Rope Mentor. You're going to see when I used to make fitness content back in 2018, 17. I was a completely different person. My delivery was different. I've worked on it. I've improved. I've studied. I've gotten mentorship. So at first, define your initial marketing platform. Get a hold of it. Systematize it and then automize it. At first, I was editing all the YouTube videos on my Premiere Pro. And then now I have a team that helps me do this. Once we've done that, this is where we start scaling. And this is where it starts becoming fun. This is where we actually start getting the results. And this is where the rest of the funnel starts getting filled. The first one is, the next thing is stack channels. Ooh, so this is the scaling part. And that's how it's gonna look like. So right here, let's say this right here is our marketing efforts over time. For Leon, how it started is at first, I had YouTube as a marketing channel. And you could see it started and then it's slowly growing. Then what I did as a creator is I started stacking around 9 months after the YouTube channel. I started stacking X written content. So X copy. And then it took me a good 6 months to get a hold of X copy. And a year after is where it really started picking up. And that was after, by the way, alpha for you here. That's when I started mastering the art of storytelling. I had read a couple of books, I had taken a course on it. And it was by embedding storytelling as part of my marketing that I was able to all of a sudden deliver a message that started resonating better with my target audience. Then I stacked Twitter Spaces as a marketing channel. When I started doing Twitter Spaces, my follower grew very quickly and it grew with a very strong follower base. And that is why one of the main products that we offer at Unfungible is we help teams unlock Twitter Spaces as a marketing channel, since we've built the largest network of spaces in the industry with some of the top projects, some of whom I've named here. And then right here, this is where you can start stacking more opportunities. That could be LinkedIn, that could be podcast, that could be Instagram. So you see all of a sudden how right here, we started with YouTube, then added YouTube X written copy, then Twitter live streams. Then we can add here X shorts, then TikTok shorts, then Instagram shorts. And that is how you are able to build a marketing machine and with time, build a team around you that has the ability to start funneling eyeballs into the founder account. And then through that, you have the ability to arbitrage that attention into your brand through occasional brand shoutouts, perhaps call to action. But in an ideal world, the brand itself, you as a founder, are nothing but a representation of the brand. Unfungible is Leon. Leon is unfungible. There is no unfungible brand account on X. It does not exist. As of November 2024, there is none, and there is no strategy in place for that. Because Leon is unfungible and unfungible is Leon. Then we can start, as we start scaling those, we can start adding, by the way, just for your information, something that's gonna come, what about influencer marketing? Can't I skip founder profile to get influencer marketing? You can, that's the lazy way and it's expensive. But this is where we can add KOL marketing. So KOL, key opinion leader, which is short for influencer. That's can be added as a marketing stack because KOL in and of itself is a marketing channel that takes time to build and that needs refining and improving over time. So that's how with the founder funnel, we start pushing attention into the branded account and then push down. I'm not gonna cover these elements in today's video, that's content for other videos. But we all of a sudden get the idea that when people buy into you, they're indirectly buying into your product. By selling them on what you do, you're selling them on who the brand is. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the new age of brand marketing. The last thing that I'm going to say on this topic is the following, which is the concept of action, reaction. So for every force you exert, there's an equal and opposite force that comes on the other side. Let's reverse engineer this. If the reaction we want is increase eyeballs, well, there's two ways to do this with the action. What are the actions that we as founders have control over? As we saw, content is the most organic one and the best one to do in Web3. So the next question becomes, what type of content can I create? And this is where we can break down content into two main pillars. The first one is educational. The second one is entertainment. And something about entertainment doesn't necessarily need to be funny or comedic. It doesn't mean you have to be a comedian all of a sudden. Entertainment can only be as simple as going to the street and asking people what the price of Bitcoin is and seeing someone say $1 or someone saying $200,000. That's a form of entertaining content. Educational content is exactly what you consume. And depending on your delivery mechanism, you're going to reverse engineer what type of content your audience resonates with. For example, for a Web3 game, I can see how the founder leaning more toward entertaining content would make more sense than educational content. Because as a founder, do Web3 gamers really care about how to build a Web3 game? Not really. So that's where it becomes interesting to define what they do. Midday Square, for example, again, going back to the example of these guys, for them, like I said, you go and it feels like it's a reality TV show. They leaned into entertainment with a little bit of educational. How they do it with educational is they tell their people like, hey guys, for example, we're currently experimenting with this new recipe. So the price of cacao is has increased by 20% in the last 4 quarters. And what we're thinking of doing is changing our recipe from being 15% cacao to being 10% cacao, and then we're gonna add this new little ingredient that replaces that, therefore allowing us to cut the cost and preventing us from increasing prices on you guys. And then they ask, what do you think of this? And then in the comment section, I swear, like by the time you watch this video, it's probably gonna be one of the last videos that they posted on Instagram. You're gonna see the fans, the reactions. People will be like, no, don't do this. This might be harmful for people. This specific ingredient might have bad reaction on some people's stomach, allergies. Just increase the cost. I'm willing to pay more. Like the reactions are incredible. And that's a perfect example of what a strong community looks like. So ask yourself, what type of content are you more of a founder? What is your founder content fit? For example, for me, my friends don't know me as the most entertaining guy in the room. I'm more of a serious person. And so for me, it would make a lot more sense to go with educational content than it would be with entertaining content. And that's why the angle that I chose works for me and why I enjoy doing it, because it fits my character. But the moment you want to start becoming someone you're not, just for the camera, is the moment you're going to start hating and despising it. Because trust me, ladies and gentlemen, you're one message away from changing your customer's life. Your customer is one community away from having their life changed. For me, that was joining the gym community almost a decade ago. That changed my life, and that was one message from one person that got me to join the gym. You have a responsibility and a duty to put your message out in a way that resonates with people. And for you to put something out that resonates with people, it first has to resonate with you. It has to come from the heart. And the way you make it come from the heart is for you to resonate with what is it you're creating in the first place. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the founder funnel. These are the steps that you can follow to start implementing it and start getting it out there. My name is Liana Boud. It was a great pleasure spending this time together. I shall see you very soon. Cheers.